We are in New Hampshire, United States. The year is 1973. For most Americans, it's an era of transition, of cultural uncertainty. But in places like Goffstown, life still moves at a different pace. Goffstown is a small New England town, the kind that seems to exist outside of time. A place known today for a peculiar tradition called the Giant Pumpkin Regatta, where locals paddle hollowed-out pumpkins down the river. In 1973, it was even smaller, more rural, with fewer than 9,000 inhabitants. It was a place of dark roads, surrounded by dense forests, where the silence of the early morning was only broken by the sound of animals or the lone engine of a late-night car. It is in this pastoral, quiet setting that a young woman named Lyndia Morel is about to have her reality permanently fractured. Her case isn't about distant lights on the horizon. It's about proximity. It's about control. It's about the absolute terror that sets in when you realize your own hands, your own eyes, and your own car no longer obey your commands. This is the story of an encounter on Route 114, an event so real and terrifying that it required police intervention, and what they witnessed only deepened the enigma. It all begins in the early hours of November 2nd, 1973. Lyndia Morel, a young masseuse, finishes her work shift around 2:45 a.m. The night air is cold, and the prospect of driving the 15.5 miles to her home in Goffstown is her only concern. But the night is still young. Lyndia decides to stop at Benroy's restaurant. There, she meets a friend. They talk, have coffee, and for 45 minutes, the world is perfectly normal. It's the last moment of normalcy she would have for a long time. Around 3:30 a.m., she says goodbye. Before hitting the road, she stops at a gas station to refuel. 10 minutes later, just before 4 in the morning, she is finally on her way home. She crosses the river and enters Route 114. The road is deserted. To her left, in the dark sky, she notices a bright yellow light. Lyndia is not a naive witness. Her first reaction is logical. She thinks it's a planet, perhaps Venus or Jupiter. She even notes what she identifies as the planet Mars nearby, but this mysterious light is much brighter. Then logic fails. The light begins to pulse, changing color. Red, green, blue. Planets don't do that. She keeps driving, cautious, keeping her speed low, as was her habit. Her eyes are split between the dark road and the anomalous light show. The light seems to get bigger, brighter. It is getting closer. For a brief instant, Lyndia looks away to light a cigarette. When her eyes return to the sky, the light has vanished. It didn't dim, it didn't move away. It switched off, as if someone had flipped a switch. She feels a chill. Had she imagined it? Several minutes pass in the silence of the road, and then, in the same spot, the switch is flipped back on. The light is back.
Lyndia is now on full alert. She isn't just driving anymore. She is observing and being observed. As she approaches a nursing home and a hospital, the light intensifies. and then, once again, it switches off. At that exact moment, a few cars pass her in the opposite direction. They are the first vehicles she has seen in miles. The instant they disappear, the light reappears. The conclusion is inescapable and terrifying. That thing did not want to be seen by the other cars, but it didn't seem to mind that she saw it. She slows down even more. The cat and mouse game continues. The light follows her. When she passes a railroad crossing, the light is there, bigger, brighter. As she approaches the Goffstown town limits, the light switches off again. The silence in the sky is almost deafening. She drives through the sleeping town, her heart pounding against her ribs. But the game isn't over. As she leaves the urban area and approaches the intersection of Route 114 and Route 13, she sees it again. This time, it's not a point of light. It's low, terribly close, perhaps 2,000 feet away, and it is hovering directly over her lane, over Route 114. It was no longer following her. It was waiting for her.
For the first time, Lyndia sees what it really is. It's not a light. It's a craft. It is a globe-shaped object with a textured exterior she would describe as honeycomb-like, glowing an intense golden orange. Small beams of red, blue, and green light flashed in its center. In the upper left portion, she sees an oval window with glass that looked opaque yet translucent. And then she hears it. It's not a common sound. It's a high-pitched, thin, constant humming. A sound so penetrating that she doesn't just hear it with her ears, she feels it vibrating throughout her entire body, an electrical tingling that seems to attune her nerves to the craft itself. Despite the impossible scene, Lyndia still maintains a relative calm. She continues driving slowly, her brain trying to process the impossible. That's when she decides to stop the car. She tries to remove her hands from the steering wheel, and she can't. The panic, kept at bay, now floods her. Her hands are stuck, glued to the wheel as if made of lead. She tries to look away from the object, tries to move her head. She can't. Her eyes are fixed on the craft. Her body is no longer hers. Something, an invisible force, has taken total control. She is a prisoner inside her own vehicle, forced to be a witness. And then the world blinks.
Suddenly, she is in a different place. One instant, she was paralyzed, approaching the craft. The next instant, she is over half a mile further down the same road. She has absolutely no memory of driving that stretch. It is a hole in her mind, a piece of time that was simply stolen. The humming is louder, and the car is moving much faster. She tries to brake. She can't. The car is not responding to her. It is accelerating toward the object, which now hovers even closer. The sensation is not that she is driving, it's that the car is being pulled, dragged by an invisible magnetic force. Control wasn't just taken from her, it was seized by the machine in front of her.
The distance closes 200 yards. The object is about the size of her own car. She looks at the oval window and sees a figure. She is not alone. She can see the head, arms, and upper torso of a being standing before what looked like a control panel lit by a bright white background. The figure has grayish skin, but the face seems lighter. The skin is wrinkled, loose, a texture that made her think of an elephant's hide. She sees a thin slit where a mouth should be. But it's the eyes that capture her. Large, almond-shaped, and completely black. The moment her eyes meet its, her paralysis intensifies. She cannot and will not look away. And then a voice. It didn't come through the air. It didn't come through the radio. She felt it or heard it inside her own mind. A clear telepathic message. The voice said, "Do not be afraid." The irony was cruel, because it was at that exact moment that true panic, the terror of imminent capture, took hold of Lyndia.
"I'm going to be captured," was the thought that screamed in her mind. As the uncontrolled car was pulled closer, the object glowed with a blinding intensity. Fighting the paralysis with every fiber of her being, Lyndia glimpses familiar landmarks amidst the terror. A cemetery passing by her side. And then a light of salvation. Ahead of her, to the left, she sees a house, the Bodwin family home. With a surge of adrenaline and pure survival instinct, she fights against the force holding her. She succeeds. She breaks one hand free from the wheel. Her first instinct is to cover her eyes from the blinding light. With her other hand, she yanks the steering wheel with all her strength to the left, veering off the road, breaking free from the craft's pull. The car stops abruptly on the property's lawn. The engine is still running. The headlights are still on. She doesn't even think to turn it off. The door opens, and she runs. A large guard dog from the family runs toward her, growling, ready to attack. Lyndia's desperation is so absolute that she reacts on pure instinct. She punches the dog hard on the snout. The animal, shocked, retreats. And then the world blinks again. A second time lapse. In the blink of an eye, she is no longer in the middle of the lawn. She is on the front porch, pounding on the door with her fists, screaming nonstop, "Help! Help me! Help!" She has no memory of running from the gate to the door.
It's 4:30 a.m. For 2 agonizing minutes, she pounds on the door. Behind her, on the lawn, she sees the object, still hovering, watching her. Finally, the door opens. Mr. Bodwin stares at her. Lyndia almost collapses in relief. She has both hands pressed against her ears, trying to block the deafening hum that only she could hear. Mrs. Bodwin would later describe her eyes as wide with terror. Lyndia's first words aren't an apology. They are a declaration. I am not drunk. I am not on drugs. A UFO tried to get me. They take her into the kitchen. They tried to calm her down. And finally, inside the safety of the house, the humming in her head stops.
Although the story seems unbelievable, Lyndia's terror is undeniably real. The Bodwins call the Goffstown Police Department. 10 minutes later, Patrolman Daniel Jubinville arrives. He is a professional. The first thing he sees is Lyndia's car, stopped on the front lawn, with the door open, the engine running, and the headlights on. He enters the house and listens to Lyndia's account. He notes her state of panic, but also her lucidity. He finds absolutely no sign of intoxication or substance use. He was certain that whatever she had seen, she firmly believed it and was terrified by it. After taking her statement, the officer, Lyndia, and the Bodwin couple go out to the yard. And it is then that Lyndia Morel's case shifted from a single witness report to a corroborated incident. A short distance away, in the sky, they all see it. An intense light is hovering, exactly as Lyndia had described. It pulses softly, changing its hue. Curious and skeptical, Officer Jubinville draws his service flashlight. He points the beam of light directly at the object in the sky. The instant the light hits it, the object in the sky reacts. It moves slowly to the side, as if actively avoiding the flashlight's beam. As it does so, it changes color, from yellow to red and green. The officer is shocked. He repeats the gesture. He points the flashlight. The light again moves to avoid it. For several minutes, the four of them stand motionless, watching this silent interaction. A human police officer and an intelligent light that did not want to be illuminated. Then slowly, the light began to fade. It dimmed its brightness until finally, it disappeared completely, leaving the New Hampshire sky dark once more.
The case was so credible that it attracted APRO, one of the leading UFO research organizations of the time. Investigator Walter Webb, famous for his meticulous work on the Betty and Barney Hill case, which occurred not far from there, was assigned. Webb interviewed Lyndia, retraced her route, and was impressed with her consistency and her obvious emotional distress. He ruled out mechanical failures in the car, but what intrigued him most were the two time lapses, the missing time. To Webb, this was a classic signature of an abduction event. Lyndia Morel's encounter occurred in the fall of 1973, just weeks after the infamous Pascagoula case, amidst one of the largest waves of humanoid sightings in United States history. Skeptics tried to explain it. They said it was Mars, exceptionally bright. They said it was a panic attack on a dark road. But these explanations die in the face of the facts. Mars does not flash red, green, and blue. Mars does not wait for drivers at intersections. And above all, Mars does not flee from a police flashlight. Whatever happened on Route 114 that night, it was real, it was intelligent, and it was invasive. The Lyndia Morel case remains one of the most authentic and disturbing enigmas in UFO files. It's a story that forces us to ask, what happens when the veil of reality tears open on a dark road, and something from the other side decides it wants a closer look? What does your intuition tell you about tonight's account? What to you really happened in those stretches of missing time on the road? Was the voice in Lyndia's mind, "Do not be afraid," a genuine attempt to calm, or was it a tool of control like the hum that paralyzed her? And perhaps most chilling, if the Bodwin family home had not been there, would that escape have been possible?
The Lyndia Morel case is a pillar in the study of ufology, not because of distant lights, but because of the intimate contact and the stolen sovereignty. If this architecture of facts resonated with you, your like is more than a click. It's the beacon the YouTube algorithm needs. It illuminates this channel, showing that the serious exploration of these profound mysteries must continue to reach us. For this work to move forward, your subscription is essential. Please check if you are already subscribed to Alien Cases. And finally, use the comments. Leave your theory. We want to hear what you think.